take the stage.
All right, y'all. Well, let's dive deeper into the world of school breakfast and lunch. To introduce our next session, we welcome the Director of Health Through Food at the Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina Foundation, Mary Davis. Take the stage.
Ooh, this is so exciting. Wait, okay, stay there. Fulfills my childhood dream of walking out of a red velvet curtain, so thank you to the Carolina Hunger Initiative for that. And thank you for your leadership and for bringing us all together today. This is definitely one of the best conferences of the year, if not the best. And I will be so happy, yes, applause, I will be so happy when we don't have to have this conference anymore. We will have a farewell conference, and we will not have to talk about this anymore. So, Mary Davis, I am the Director of Health Through Food at Blue Cross North Carolina Foundation, and I'm excited to be here today to underscore the importance of school meals. As a statewide funder tied to North Carolina's only homegrown health insurance plan, we see firsthand how food and nutrition insecurity affects individual health and the health of our entire state. So at Blue Cross North Carolina Foundation, we believe that every child deserves access to healthy food because nutrition is essential for growing, learning, and living healthy and flourishing lives, as we heard about earlier. And we've heard many times today, but it's worth repeating that in North Carolina, 1 in 5 kids face hunger. And in some communities, really in many communities, it's much, much higher. So we can and we must do better for our children and for our state, the future of our state. The lack of nutritious food harms a child's development, and it also contributes to future diet-related chronic conditions, like type 2 diabetes, which ultimately drives up healthcare costs for everyone. And that is not sustainable. But the good news is, we know what works. Our research shows that access to nutritious food improves health outcomes and helps reduce the need for expensive and time-consuming medical care. That's why our vision at Blue Cross North Carolina Foundation, our vision of a healthy North Carolina includes schools where every student can access a healthy breakfast and a healthy lunch at no cost to their families. When kids have access to nutritious meals, they're better able to learn, to grow, and to thrive, and again, to flourish. I love that word, so I appreciate the person who brought that into the room this morning. Feeding kids shouldn't be and isn't controversial. It's foundational. And I just want that to sink in, right? Feeding kids isn't controversial, it's foundational for a full and a healthy life. As Blue Cross North Carolina Foundation, we are incredibly proud to support this conference, as well as the School Meals for All NC Coalition that is working tirelessly in North Carolina to make free breakfast and free lunch become a reality, and to stand alongside all the dedicated leaders who are here today and who aren't here today across the state that are working for a brighter and healthier future for North Carolina's children through food. Like the superintendent said this morning, I believe Rob Jackson, I can't wait until we have universal breakfast and lunch for every child in North Carolina. Yay. So with that, I am excited to kind of leave the stage and turn it over to 2 powerful leaders that are working every day to feed our kids. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary. Next, let's hear from a member of the School Meals for All leadership team, Marianne Weant from the North Carolina Alliance for Health. We invite you to take the stage.
That was great. That was
Thank
much
you.
more exciting than I expected. Chanel and I are the last two keeping you from lunch, and Katie at my work always says, do not talk too long when you're the last people before lunch. So we're going to keep it brief. I'm Marianne Weant, and I'm here with Katie, Abby, Kayla, Tiara, Chanel, Brenna, and all the people in the room that believe every child in North Carolina schools should have access to meals at no cost to their families. And that's probably a lot of you too. In North Carolina, 81% of North Carolinians support the idea of school meals for all. And our coalition is a group where that 81% works together to educate our legislators about how important this issue is and the incredible benefits that come from funding school nutrition. On the screen behind me are images of what we were up to in 2025. We had town halls, we had a video series highlighting farmers, and we visited the North Carolina General Assembly with students and with apples. And those apples we got from KT's orchard and apiary just down the road in Haywood County. 2025 was full of hard work, but it was good work and it was fun work. I even think that Andrew is juggling in one of those pictures, so if you see it, let us know. So where are we at now, and where is all of this going? What it's leading to is more funding for school nutrition programs in North Carolina. Some of the legislative wins for school nutrition in recent years were achieved alongside the efforts of partners across the state. And we especially want to point out the $6 million to support CEP expansion. And that's $6 million every year. I want y'all to know that Andrew told me to ask for a clap there, but I had a lot of faith that y'all were just going to give me the clap, and I didn't need to say it. And I'm not mad, but I am disappointed. There's so much more we can achieve together. It's time to build on last year's bipartisan bill to fund school breakfast for all and bring more champions into our work, and we want you to all be part of that. One more thing, in the back of the room, you'll see the student winners of our National School Lunch Poster Contest, and we'd love to wish congratulations to all of the student winners, and that's the world that we're working for. And I'm excited that Chanel is coming after me and is going to tell a little bit about her story about School Meals for All. And Katie also told me, in addition to not talking very long, that we have sweatshirts for sale in the back. So please wear them. And t-shirts. I don't know what they're telling me to say, but go to the back and visit Katie. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Marianne. All right. Our next speaker works in Alamance-Burlington schools and was recognized as the 2025 North Carolina Piedmont Triad Region Teacher of the Year. She is also a School Meals for All North Carolina champion. Chanel Jones, take the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I would just like to say it is truly my pleasure to be surrounded by people who believe that addressing hunger is essential to student success. I think I was saying this earlier, that the energy in here is electric, and it is my first conference, and I will definitely be back. Again, I am Chanel Jones. I am a proud middle school teacher in Alamance County, North Carolina. I teach in the same district that raised me, where my own teachers, bus drivers, and cafeteria staff nurtured me with knowledge, kindness, care, and hot meals. Now I strive to offer my students that same care and consistency. I care deeply about School Meals for All NC because I have seen how hunger hides behind bright smiles and heavy book bags. I have had students ask for seconds at breakfast, not because they are greedy, but because that tray of food might be the most substantial meal they have until the next day. I have quietly packed extra snacks in backpacks. I have watched students sit with empty stomachs and full hearts. trying to push through math problems and social studies discussions despite the physical toll of hunger. Sometimes it shows up in the lack of focus, sometimes it shows up in irritability, and sometimes it shows up in a child simply putting their head down. Hunger is quiet, it is subtle, it is often invisible, and yet it changes everything about a child's ability to fully show up in a classroom. I lost my mother at the age of 5, and my father became my rock. He did whatever it took to make sure my brother and I always had hot meals on the table. No matter how tight things became, he never let us feel the sting of hunger. He gave us dignity through the simple and powerful act of provision. Looking back, I understand what that meant. It meant stability, it meant safety, and it meant never having to question whether we would have food on the table. That certainty allowed us to focus on school, on growing up, and on dreaming. And I carry that spirit with me now. When I fight for school meals, all for NC, I think of him. I think about how many students do not have that same assurance when they go home. I think about the children who are managing worries that should belong to adults. Every single one of my students currently receives free breakfast and lunch, and I can say without hesitation, it is how it should be for every child in North Carolina. Because when students are fed, they are present, they are more engaged, and they are ready to learn. No child should carry the invisible weight of wondering where or whether they can afford a lunch alongside the visible weight of their education. When we eliminate the cost of meals, we remove shame and stress. We remove barriers that separate children who have from those who do not. We remove one more obstacle standing between a child and their potential. I have been a teacher for nearly a decade, but I have been aware of food insecurity for much longer. Even as a child, I noticed the silent cues, students asking, are you going to eat that? Offering to throw away another student's tray just to have the last. Even then, I knew something was uneven. I was raised in a community where schools did more than teach. They nourished, they supported, they protected, and they understand that learning does not happen in isolation from basic needs. The legacy of that care lives in me today. My classroom at Broadview Middle is more than a space to learn. It is a place to feel seen, heard, and safe. I launched a Fresh Start laundry service at school because I saw students worried about clean clothes before they were worried about homework. And during the holidays, I'll organize take-home bags for students who might not otherwise experience that meal, because I know food is tied to tradition, belonging, and memory. These efforts are about dignity. They are about making sure every child feels valued and supported, not exposed for circumstances that they did not choose. So to the public, to policymakers, and to anyone who believes in equity, food is not a privilege, it is a right. If we truly believe public schools are meant to level the playing field, then making sure every child is fed, no matter the zip code or family income, has to be non-negotiable. We cannot talk about academic growth without talking about nourishment. We cannot talk about closing achievement gaps without addressing hunger. We cannot say we value children while allowing some to struggle silently throughout the school day. And I stand before you as a teacher of Broadview Middle School, as a product of North Carolina Public Schools, as a daughter of a father who believed providing a meal was an act of love, as a champion of North Carolina Schools for All, as an educator and advocate, as a daughter of a teacher, as a daughter of a provider, and as a voice for the voiceless. My students should not have to be resilient because they are hungry. They should be resilient because they are dreaming. They should not have to wonder if they will have food tomorrow. They should be wondering what they're going to become. If we truly believe in public education and equity, then we must believe in feeding every child. Not because it is generous, not because it is convenient, because it is right. It's about dignity. And in North Carolina, dignity for our children should never be up for debate. And before I leave you, if anyone is interested in becoming a champion for School Meals for All NC like I am, please see our table in the back, and you can also text CHAMP, CHAMP, to 89481. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you to Chanel, Marianne, and Mary from the School Meals for All NC Coalition.